How's it hanging? Mario's grooving, he's moving, he's having a good old time.
Moving and grooving.
We're having a good old time. So each one of these episodes now is the size, they're like 2.5 to 3 gigs now, as opposed to like less than 1 gig, because I've put it on 720p 60 FPS.
Hell yeah. Go
So
big
that's
or
gonna
go
take
home.
a fresh fucking forever to upload with our shitty internet.
Yup, sure is.
Whatever.
I hope you guys enjoy it.
I hope you fucking appreciate it.
Worthwhile.
Because it just, it's gonna be tedious.
Oh, yes.
I think it's the fucking jazz of swinging time.
Yes.
Swinging time. You know, I want to get my suit. Fuck this shit. I need to fucking get my dancing shoes on. The music is right. I got my dancing shoes on. And me and your girl is booty shaking. You remember that song?
No.
That's from the 90s. That's one of those songs. You don't remember that song?
No.
Really?
No.
That's like all the lyrics of the song.
That's probably why I don't remember it.
The music is right. I got my dancing shoes on. And me and your girl is booty shaking.
Did he scat?
Yes,
at the
he
end of
does
the song
scat.
too?
I think that actually is part of the song. I don't remember. This is so weird that the suit isn't the native costume to this place.
Yeah,
like you have
that
to
is
buy it.
unusual.
It's weird because like everyone in here is in a suit. What, the builder costume is the costume for here?
Yeah, because
It's retarded.
everyone
Isn't
in
that guy
New
creepy
York
as
is
shit?
a construction worker. Yeah, that's
And he goes like rah rah
very,
rah rah rah.
very scary.
They're all
You
the
didn't
same
buy
dude.
the moon?
No, fuck it, I don't care.
Okay.
You can buy them infinitely.
What?
Yeah, after you beat the game, you can buy like infinite moons
What the
from the
fuck?
places. I don't know if there's a cap to it because I didn't want to test how many I could buy.
Wow.
But there's seemingly
That's
infinite
some
moons that you can buy.
bullshit.
Yeah, so you can just buy as many moons as you have coins. But yeah, I'm dapper as fuck now. This is the true Mario.
Dapper boy.
This is the true Mario of Mario Odyssey with his fucking fedora.
I mean, Mario is Italian, so it makes sense he would have ties with the mafia.
That's true. Yeah, we're playing Mario.
I have an Italian friend, so I'm allowed to say that.
Italian. What's going on? You got a topic? You got something to say?
I have provided you with so much entertainment this evening, Victor.
I have.
And
And
yet
I
you
love you
ask
for it.
more of me.
Hey,
You always want more!
I told
you
a camping
always
story.
want more!
My camping shit ate up 2 episodes.
Yeah, but how many...
I've been doing okay.
I just feel like one of us is pulling more weight than the other. Rat trap!
Is that the topic? Is that you pull more weight than I do?
I mean, I guess it could segue into a topic.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the deal, Hope.
Okay.
You might pull more weight, but I lift more weight, bro. Bro, I lift. I
Shut
could
the
lift a
fuck
fucking
up.
bunch, bro. You can't fucking lift what I lift, dog.
I mean, you have an unfair advantage because you're male. Nice.
Oh, so women wanna pull the genetics card when it's convenient for
Well,
them,
I mean,
huh?
but it's
When
true.
it's convenient for you to win the argument. All right.
Ask Rat Trap. He knows.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rat Trap? You didn't
Rat
ask- you didn't ask
traps.
him.
There's no difference in the body structure of male and female
Shut the
rats.
fuck
Rat trap.
You are right.
Rat trap doesn't understand genetic gender differences. Yeah.
Oh my god. You're right, I guess. I
don't know that that's true.
It's not true, but sure, Rat Trap. You seem like you know what you're talking about.
Rat trap knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he does. He knows what he's talking about. Don't doubt Rat Trap. You don't know shit about his life or his family.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I don't.
See me fucking cheat the game and not buy into their stupid mechanic. Yeah, that's how you play Mario, like a fucking elite hack pro.
Holy shit.
Yes, I'm a speedrunner.
Anyway. that being said, in regards to a disproportionate distribution of effort and pulling your weight.
Oh, okay.
In a certain relationship.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna want to get into this because it might turn into an actual argument.
What?
Once you're done with the
What
story.
Are you gonna
No,
argue
continue,
with me about?
continue.
What? What are you gonna argue with me about? I thought we were on the same page with this.
We had an argument about this, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess we kind of did. It wasn't a real. I don't really even consider it a real argument.
Okay. Well,
I guess
a debate, an argument. I always got to go by my crazy Uncle Johnny's explanation of it's. If you're just talking to each other, it's a debate. An argument is when you're yelling at each other, and you have to make the distinction.
That's distinctly
we have never had an argument,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah.
Or a fight. When you call it a fight.
There we go.
We have had debates.
Certainly.
That sometimes aren't completely settled by the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Well, I guess there's a couple.
Yeah.
A couple.
I have a biggest problem in the universe related to this one.
Facets to this argument. This.
We'll start
topic.
from the beginning, and then we can go through.
Okay.
And kind of explain.
Well, I guess let's start it with my personal experience that I had this week. So, I have a variety of female friends. I would say some of them are more like me in being a little more unusual.
Chill? Okay, yeah.
And then some of them are kind of normie.
Mm-hmm.
And I met up with one of my more normie friends, and we got dinner.
Normie. She is
nerd normie.
She is like almost the epitome of a normie nerd girl.
Correct. Which
like,
I mean does make her pretty normal.
Yeah. By today's standards, she's pretty normal.
Like, she isn't going to be looked down upon in a crowd just because she likes Settlers of Catan, you know? Yeah. Like, no one's gonna be like,
because she's not gonna go around people who wouldn't be interested in that, you know?
Exactly. And all the people...
Oh wait, this is one of the great moments of this game.
This is...
Fuck yeah.
Oh, this is the coolest.
One of the big, ridiculous fanfares of this game where you're just like, what? Yeah, turn it up for us.
Yeah. I came home from work one night and just caught this happening, and I was like, whoa!
Fucking dope as shit. This is the first moment in the game where you're like, whoa. Like, this is different. This doesn't happen in most video games.
It's so
this
good.
shit is fucking... Like, they completely changed the entire level, and then it's like, this is only, like, the midpoint in the game, and they just have this giant, like, epic celebration, and it's like... This is where you feel my biggest argument for this game is that in every bit of it, you feel a love for Mario, the franchise, and, like, what they're doing.
Definitely.
Nothing in this game feels like they just fucking phoned it in and were uninspired and didn't care. Stuff like this shows me, like, the developers really had fun with this game. They didn't care about conventions. They didn't care about making things normal. They decided to go ham and just do this fucking ridiculous sequence, this ridiculous... literal celebration celebrating Mario arbitrarily in the game.
Mario celebration. That's all
it's like,
it is.
This is how much the developers of this game love the fact that they're making a Mario game, you know? This is one of the moments where it's like, this feels so like... It feels so final to me, where it's like... It's celebrating everything that Mario is and its entire history, and like... Why would there be another game after this? I don't know. But I love it, man.
It's
I love
so good. It's so hype.
Self-congratulatory hype of this.
Yeah.
They had a fucking ball. They didn't throw any idea out when they did this level.
Oh. Got him.
Yeah. How magical. The song is super fucking cool.
I love this song.
The aesthetic is amazing. Everyone's just cheering you on as you play through like this original Mario game. You do the whole Donkey Kong thing, even though DK's not in this game to any other extent.
Yeah.
Super strange.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's because it's Pauline is the
the girl that DK held hostage.
I completely had forgot that when I was playing this first time. I was just like,
who is this? Why is DK here?
And then I remember the detail that oh yes, it's Pauline.
Correct.
So it makes sense because I'm,
See,
you know, I'm
she
in the city
graduated from
the
being
game.
a damsel in distress to being a mayor.
Yeah, being a mayor.
Look at that.
Maybe
Women
she
have
was
upward
originally the
mobility
mayor
in this
the first
world.
place, you know? Yeah, and then you beat him and you're like, yeah, fuck you, buddy! I'll be your one-up boy. It's so fucking neat, man. Everyone's fucking hype in their suits.
Yeah.
You got the Blue Man group up there having a good time.
Blue Man group.
You got her retarded ass dance she's doing. Mario's fucking, look at him.
Mario's
he's
doing
jamming.
a dumb dance.
Because he knows it's his birthday.
It's his birthday.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's me.
So hype.
It's so good.
Dude, you don't even get this much, like, fun out of the end of most video games. And this game is doing it halfway through. They're like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just, fuck the rules, fuck conventions of video games. We're just gonna throw in this big, ridiculous festival. And look at that shit. I can just screen cap every second of this, and it's beautiful. Incredible. The colors, fantastic. Mario in a suit, dancing with a white ghost hat. It's so cool.
It's so
Mario
good.
in a Sunset City with confetti in a suit with a ghost hat. It's amazing. Yeah. I wonder if the final collectible in this game is Cappy. Like you get to wear Cappy in his normal form. That would be fucking dope. Because I unlocked Bowser's hat. So I bet the final hat you unlock is just Cappy in his natural state.
His natural state.
That would be fucking dope as shit. Anyways, what were we talking about?
We were talking about my normie dinner.
Oh yeah. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
That was worth stopping for.
That was the hypest moment of the game.
That's a spectacle in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, it's not as hype as the end of the game, but
it's still fun.
But it's a blast. You don't think it could... You'd think, like, oh, why didn't they just fucking end the game here if that's what they were doing? But the end of this game goes above and beyond anything. It's wonderful. In a sense. Now I'm probably overhyping it. It's not fucking Gurren Lagann, but, like, it's pretty out there.
It's pretty out there.
Alright. Okay.
So, yes. I'm hanging out with my normie friend, my relatively normie friend.
Normal as fuck.
Pretty dang normal. So, you know, we're out and about, we're talking, we're hanging out. She's just telling me about stuff that's going on in her life, and she mentions to me that she and her husband had gotten into a big fight earlier in the week over the dishes.
Yes.
Because she and her husband work in the same place. They work the exact same hours. She's also in school. She also does all the cleaning. She also does all the cooking in the house.
Yeah.
So literally, her husband and her brother, she lives with her husband and her brother. And they just come home and, like, watch TV while she does everything in the house. She does all the cooking. She does all the cleaning. She does everything, basically. And her husband is used to this because... she has a disease that for a while was not under control, and she wasn't able to work an actual job because she would pass out if she had to stand up for
like
long periods of time.
Right?
It's POTS. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it prohibited her from having a real job. But her POTS is pretty well managed now, so she's able to actually have this desk job because it's not too stressful on, like, standing up and stuff. So yeah, she's been working full-time on top of going to school. But because her husband got so accustomed to her not working, he got used to her, you know, doing all the housework and stuff. But now that she's working just as much as him, and she's in school, and she's still, like, you know, making all the food and stuff, apparently, like, they had gotten to the place where every dish in their house was dirty and in the sink. And on her Saturday off, she had to spend 2 hours doing every dish in the house. And this led them to a huge fight where she finally, like, blew up at him and was like, you know, getting upset at him for basically coming home from work and sitting in front of the TV and doing nothing while she did all the cooking and the cleaning and everything else, and expecting her to do everything. Which I think is, like, totally valid, because she works just as hard as him, and she goes to school, and she's not asking him to cook, she was just asking him to do the dishes. And she would, like, had asked him, like, why didn't you help me do the dishes? And he was like, oh, because I was tired. And it's like, she works just as much as you, and she's got other things going on outside of work. So, like, yeah, you're tired. You think she isn't tired too? Like, so it was an argument about an uneven distribution of work in the house. And so I'm sitting there listening to her talk about this, and she, you know, finishes talking about it, and she's like, well, you know, what's going on with you and Victor? How's all that going? And I was like, oh, you know, it's good. I mean, she's like, oh yeah, how does that work with you? And I'm like, well, I mean, I plan the meals, but that's because I'm good at it and I enjoy doing it. And then, like, Victor always helps me cook and helps me, like, take care of the dishes, so it's really not a big deal. And she's just like, oh yeah. And
The normal way that everyone should be living their entire life. Yes.
The reasonable way,
the logical
to do
way that makes sense.
Of splitting up work amongst everybody who lives in the house because you all fucking live there.
Yes.
And you should be contributing.
And just generally not being an asshole and putting it all on one person, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. All the work shouldn't fall on one person.
It's that boy again.
It's the boy.
Huh.
I wonder if I don't know. Does he show up later? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah. And, I mean, this is not an unusual complaint that I have heard from my married friends.
That's mostly normal as far as
I've heard
go.
it from all of my more normal married friends. And it got me to thinking, because all my normie friends seem to have this problem where, you know, the distribution of work is uneven, or there seems to be some sort of disconnect between their communication. There's some sort of disconnect either because, like, he values different things than she does, and they don't really seem to have great chemistry, so, like, you wonder why they're even together sometimes, because it's like they tolerate each other more than they enjoy being around each other.
Yeah.
But then, when I look at my friends who are less normal, like, I have a friend who is bipolar, and it definitely affects the way she lives her normal life, but she's married, and she has a husband who seems totally on par with her. I never hear her complain about him. It always feels like they're both doing an equivalent amount of work, and they work together really well and have good chemistry. And then there's, you know, one of my friends who also identifies as asexual, and she has a husband who's absolutely nuts about her. Like, it's clear that he compromises certain things about, you know, what he would want in a relationship, but he does it because he loves her and he wouldn't want anyone else in the world. And I don't
know who that is.
You do.
Huh.
You do know who that is. But there's that, and then of course there's someone like me, who is also abnormal in the ways I perceive, you know, relationships, and also just, you know, various different ways. But all of us. I don't think you're that
abnormal, but.
Well, there were hurdles.
Yeah, I mean, the initial hurdles were there.
Compromises that had to be, you know, that were put in place with no expectation of that changing.
Yes.
Which led me to think, does being atypical increase or decrease your chances of finding a more ideal partner than if you were normal?
Probably. I'll strongly agree on that. And I think it also has to be with the condition that the other person knows what they're getting into from the beginning.
Yes, certainly.
And works for it. Like, I knew, you know, your asexuality stuff before we were together. And so, like, I was coming into it already with that expectation and that compromise in mind, you know?
Right.
There were no surprises.
And that's why. That's what made me start thinking about it, is because when you're dealing with a person who you know has a very specific quirk that's going to change certain aspects of a relationship, then that person is already going into that relationship realizing, I might have to sacrifice A, B, and C, but I want to be with this person bad enough that I'm willing to do that. Yeah. So it comes with a built-in kind of motivation and assurance that the relationship is going to be something that's worth investing your time in. Whereas when you're dealing with a more normal situation, there's not really that anchor of being assured that this is something you really want to work for.
I think it's really just more with people who aren't good at communicating and don't know enough about each other before they're together, you know? Like, I don't know that it's... I feel like that's more of the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Because
it's really... I feel like all relationship problems come down to communication.
Certainly.
And so, like, if you already know how to communicate really well, which we certainly, you know, knew how to communicate amazingly before we were ever together, you know?
Right.
Because that's what we had to work on
right.
to get to that
in the
point.
time between every... Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I don't know. And then it's like, if you get with someone because you know, you think you're in love with them, but you don't realize the lack of, like, getting to know each other, you know, that you've actually done. And so you don't, you think you're in love with someone, but you don't know them completely, you know?
Yeah.
Which I feel like I've seen some of that going around where it's...
Definitely.
It's like you don't really know them in the deepest sense. You haven't worked out, like, how to deal with their, like,
with
quirks,
their
you know?
eccentricities.
Or they haven't shown you their eccentricities yet, you know? They've hidden it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
it's hard for me to say.
It feels like when you're talking about a person who has some sort of atypical thing about them, then you're automatically narrowing down the pool of people who would be interested in a person like that. So even though you diminish the pool from which you can draw of people who would be willing to invest in that relationship, it also increases your chances of finding someone who would be willing to make that investment. As opposed to, you know, finding someone on OkCupid and being like, I don't know.
Or, certainly knowing, you know, the investment it took for me to want to be with you despite you being asexual was like, you know, I'm already fucking in it 100% from the very beginning, you know? Like, it's easy for me to make other compromises because nothing will be as dramatic as the initial compromise.
Right.
So, like, nothing else is a big deal because we've already worked through, like, the hardest possible
most difficult problem.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you.
So, yeah, even though it might seemingly make your life more challenging to be a alternative lifestyle or have some sort of personal quirk, it may actually be beneficial for you in finding a person
like
who
Conrad.
you genuinely... Exactly, like Conrad and May.
Where it's
that's
like
what
Conrad can't be with someone who isn't May.
It
and
might,
so,
it helps you find a person who specifically meets your things that are beneficial for you.
Yeah, and you shouldn't settle for anyone who isn't that person, you know? You shouldn't be involved with someone who isn't, like, clicking with you like that, you know? Who isn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
I tread on thin ice saying things like that because I know it's gonna, you know, there's gotta be a lot of people, you know, even people I know who aren't clicking on that way, and I'm like, on the one hand,
well, I mean,
I wanna be like, you know, you might be in trouble, but I don't know, you know, some people work it out. It'll take them
just
longer.
Harder.
Yeah,
it's just harder.
It'll be
for
harder.
People like
it'll
that.
take them longer to get to peace.
I've just been like casual friends with a lot of people who have gotten married and been with someone who I feel like they only kind of settled for, and it doesn't end well.
Exactly.
It ends poorly in most cases.
Or you know, you go through, you either end up divorced or you get real close and then you bring it back in, you know?
You have two options.
I've you know, just because the only couple of parents I have for reference are my parents and your parents, like, both of our parents went through the almost divorced and then like
divorce,
but then, you know, re-solidify.
Yes.
So I feel like that's probably most people's process. They either get divorced or they almost do, and then they realize like what they really need to do to keep it going, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that was my thought in that perhaps being abnormal actually increases your chances in finding the most ideal human.
Definitely. I agree. I can't imagine, oh, man. Like, I feel like it would have been harder for you to, like, end up with a guy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, settle for a guy. But for me, it probably, like, if we didn't get together and I ended up moving away, I'm sure at some point I would have just ended up with some girl as my girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And it would have been that process of, like, learning what that is and learning that it's not good at all. Like, it wouldn't have worked out well. And then it probably would have been, you know, go out with however many girls and go through this entire arc of, like, you know, self-discovery in that regard and stuff. And, like, all these unnecessary steps that have been prevented
work.
just by being with you, who is perfect for me. And not having to discover all of that. Not having to realize that relationships suck ass.
Yeah.
And most people aren't right for you.
It is true.
So you saved me a lot of life trouble. Just by being the perfect girl.
By enacting my 6-year plan, I saved you a lot of
your
trouble.
6-year plan. This was your 6-year plan.
Yeah,
your 6-year plan to make me the best boy.
The entire time.
It was all about.
It was all a ruse.
So you actually did like me from the beginning. Hope was like, you know what, this guy's great, but
I need him to be better.
I need him to be perfect. I need to break him down to the point that he will do anything for me, so that he won't just, you know, he won't get bored of me too fast. I gotta make it so I gotta make him obsessed with me.
You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
6 easy years to break down your man.
How to break down your ideal man in 6 easy years. Oh man, maybe that's a female perspective on that.
There you go, guys.
Like,
Get
well,
on
all these friend zone cucks are good and all, but just like
not good enough.
they're not
though.
good enough.
They could be
you know,
better. We can rebuild him.
They're at the point where if I gave them what they wanted, they would just become a douchebag. So, like, I have to make it, you know, you gotta ensure that
you gotta apply the pressure on the coal to make the
You don't want them to get over, like, if you just gave it up quick, you know, they become overconfident. They think they're the shit. And then they end up, like, you know, they end up growing away from you because they become douchebags.
You gotta know when to fold them and when to hold them, guys.
Hold them for 6 years.
For 6 easy years.
Yeah, what time are we at now?
We are at 28 minutes.
27 minutes. We can end this episode. And I'll start the next one fresh, because I don't want us to run out of topics. Because we'll end up talking about this next thing for like 20 minutes maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be short. I don't know. I don't know.